Imagine this. What if I told you that one small move could change your life? People would start respecting you, chasing you, and fearing the idea of losing you. Picture a world where you're not running after anyone's validation, but people begin to understand your value because they sense that you could walk away from their lives at any moment. But the truth is, most people never feel this power. They make one big mistake. They make themselves too available, so much so that their value drops. They constantly seek approval, always make the first move, stay available 24/7 thinking it's helping the connection. But instead, they become boring and predictable, easy to ignore, easy to replace. Today, I'm going to share a psychological technique that will completely change your game. Once you use it, people will immediately feel something has shifted. They'll either start thinking they need you more than you need them. Your energy will change, and they'll feel confused. For the first time, you won't be putting in effort, and they'll start chasing you. But remember this, when you use this move, some people will panic. Some will crave your attention again, and some may even try to manipulate you to go back to your old ways. But the ones who truly value you will never take you for granted. They'll understand your importance not by your words, but by your absence. Respect isn't lost in a day. It fades slowly. When you always reply instantly, lower your standards, and allow yourself to become just an option, people start treating you like air, always available, always present, and therefore taken for granted. But imagine if air suddenly disappeared. People would crave it and do anything to get it back. That's the psychology at play in your life too. When you're always available, you're taken for granted. But when you disappear, people begin to crave your presence. Here's that one move that brings your power back: strategic absence. People think if you want attention, you have to try harder. That's wrong. Real power is in showing less effort, but smartly. How to do it? Stop making the first contact. If you're always the one messaging first, calling, or making plans, stop. Let them miss you. Let them wonder, what happened? He used to text every day. Delay your replies. If you used to reply in seconds, now take a breath. Pause. Let them think about where you are, why you're not replying right away. This creates curiosity and tension. It shifts the dynamic. Create distance without explanation. No warning, no drama. Just pull back. One day you're there, next day you're not. This triggers deep psychological panic. People start making up their own reasons. Did I do something wrong? Why isn't he talking to me? They begin to crave the attention they once took for granted. When you do this, people notice your absence, and because they don't understand why it's happening, they begin to value your presence more. This creates a powerful psychological effect called loss aversion. People are more motivated to avoid loss than to gain something new. As long as they feel you'll always be there, they won't value you. But the moment they sense you might be leaving, everything changes. How does this work in real life? In relationships, when you stop chasing someone, they start texting more, initiating conversations, making effort. In friendships, when you're not the one always making plans, people suddenly want to meet you more. At work, when you stop over-explaining everything, colleagues start respecting you more. Even celebrities and CEOs use this trick. They're not always available. That's what creates mystery and makes their presence feel valuable. Guess what? You can do this too. You don't need to be famous or rich. You just need to stop making yourself so easily available. But before doing this, important note: use strategic absence the right way. If you disappear completely, it'll seem manipulative. And we're not talking about manipulation here. So here's the correct way. Slowly reduce your availability. If you used to reply in a minute, now take a few hours. If you always said yes, now say no sometimes. Create space. Spark curiosity in people's minds. Focus your energy elsewhere. Don't just disappear and sit at home hoping they notice. Focus on your life, your goals, passions, or other friends. When they reach out, they should see you're thriving, not waiting for their validation. Come back with confidence, not neediness. If they reach out, don't shower them with attention. Keep conversations short, confident, and focused on yourself. Make them feel they have to earn your time now. When you do this, people react in different ways. Some will chase you, the most common response. They'll put in effort, text more, ask if everything's okay. Some will test you to see if you'll fall back into old patterns. Some will guilt trip you, saying things like, "You've changed," or "Why are you acting like this?" Don't fall for it. Stay calm, composed, and unaffected. And some will disappear forever. And that's the best part. These are the people who never really valued you anyway. Now, you're not wasting energy on the wrong people. This isn't a game. It's not about playing hard to get. It's about reclaiming your power. You've spent too long giving away your time, energy, and presence too easily. Not anymore. Detach to attract. When you're emotionally attached, you come off desperate. But when you're detached, you seem calm and powerful. People chase you because your self-worth becomes clearly visible in your behavior. That's the difference between a needy person and a high-value person. And remember, don't fake it. Your intention should be clean. You're respecting yourself, not manipulating others. Your silence becomes a weapon, but only when you're genuinely growing. And one more thing, when you return, people will notice. Your energy will be different. Your confidence will be visible. You won't bend, you'll shine. And that's when the world gets a clear message. You can't play with my presence, because I've mastered my absence. Build mystery and maintain unpredictability. In a world dominated by constant communication and overexposure, mystery has become a rare and powerful trait. Most people reveal everything about themselves too quickly, what they think, feel, and plan, leaving no room for imagination or curiosity. But when you deliberately withhold certain details, don't immediately share every thought, and avoid being too predictable in your actions or responses, you begin to create a sense of intrigue that naturally draws others in. Mystery works because the human brain craves closure and understanding. When we can't fully figure someone out, we keep thinking about them. They stay on our minds longer. This is why charismatic people often maintain an air of unpredictability. They aren't robotic in their patterns, and their actions spark interest because they are not entirely expected. This unpredictability makes your presence more valuable and your attention more rewarding. Practically, this means not always responding the same way, not always being available at the same time, and occasionally surprising others with your growth, decisions, or boundaries. For instance, instead of sharing your every move on social media or always being the first to initiate contact, step back and allow your silence or delay to create curiosity. Let people wonder what you're thinking, doing, or planning. This space fuels engagement and elevates your perceived value. It's important, however, to balance this with authenticity. Being mysterious doesn't mean being dishonest or playing manipulative games. It means intentionally choosing what and when to share, not out of fear or insecurity, but from a place of power. It's about managing access to your emotional and mental world. When done right, this approach not only improves how others perceive you, but also strengthens your inner confidence. You stop seeking validation and start owning your personal space. People become more drawn to you, not because you're shouting to be seen, but because you're quietly centered, and that's magnetic. Invest in self-growth during absence. One of the most overlooked aspects of strategic absence is what you do during the time you pull back. Many people make the mistake of going silent while doing nothing productive. That's not power. That's just withdrawal. Real strength comes from actively using your absence to grow, evolve, and invest in yourself so that when you return, you're a version of yourself that people can't ignore. Think of your absence as a transformation phase, a cocoon where you're refining your goals, skills, health, and mindset. When you stop constantly being present in others' lives, you free up mental and emotional energy that can now be redirected toward personal development. Start working out, pick up a new skill, launch a passion project, or simply spend time reflecting and journaling to understand yourself better. When you focus on becoming the person you admire, your energy changes. You walk differently, speak with more clarity, and radiate quiet confidence. This growth becomes visible, even if you don't speak a word about it. People notice the difference in how you carry yourself. They feel the shift in your aura. You're no longer needy for attention. Instead, you're thriving in your own lane, which ironically makes people seek your attention even more. Moreover, growth creates natural boundaries. You become busier, more focused, and less tolerant of low-effort interactions. The people who didn't value your time before start seeing that you've elevated your standards, and now they either rise to meet you or fall away. And if they fall away, that's a gift. It means your absence acted as a filter. Ultimately, strategic absence is only powerful when it's backed by substance. So use this time to level up, not for revenge, not to prove a point, but because you deserve to be your best self. The improved version of you is the most authentic and undeniable evidence that your worth doesn't rely on anyone's validation. It shines on its own. Set boundaries without explaining yourself. One of the strongest indicators of self-respect is the ability to set and maintain boundaries without over-explaining, apologizing, or feeling guilty. Most people fear setting boundaries because they worry they'll seem rude, distant, or selfish. But in reality, boundaries are a form of self-care and self-protection. They show that you value your time, your energy, and your peace of mind, and others eventually respect you more for it. When you're always justifying your no or giving people long explanations about why you're unavailable, you're unintentionally placing your worth in their hands. You're seeking their approval for your decisions, and that gives away your power. Instead, you must learn to communicate limits calmly and clearly, without making it a debate or a performance. For example, instead of saying, "I'm really sorry, I can't talk right now because I have this, that, and everything else to do," you simply say, "I won't be available right now. Let's connect later." This shift in communication shows quiet strength. It sends a message: my time matters. I don't owe anyone constant access. Over time, people start adapting to this dynamic. They realize you're not someone who can be guilt-tripped or dragged into things out of obligation. You stop being the emotional dumping ground or the go-to for last-minute plans. Instead, you become the person whose presence is earned, not assumed. Boundaries also rewire how people treat you in the long run. The more you teach people that you'll tolerate being interrupted, disrespected, or used, the more they will keep doing it, not because they're evil, but because you trained them that way. So when you change that pattern, when you stop being always on, when you don't explain every absence or delay, people recalibrate. Some might get upset at first, but the ones who truly respect you will adjust. The rest, let them go. Also, remember, boundaries are not just about saying no to others. They're also about saying yes to yourself. When you protect your energy, you make space for your own creativity, rest, and inner peace. You're no longer living reactively. You're living intentionally. That's the ultimate form of self-respect. By setting unapologetic boundaries, you stop being easily accessible and start being deeply valued. And that's not arrogance. It's self-awareness. Try this technique once and watch how people start treating you differently. No one will ignore you. No one will take you for granted. And from now on, you'll be in control. By the way, have you ever pulled back and someone started chasing you? Share it in the comments. Let's see how many people have felt this shift. And hey, this isn't just talk. It's a movement that makes you powerful. So subscribe now or stay weak forever. The choice is yours.